What's happening, guys? Greg Happ here from Menagerie Studio. Today I'm going to take you through a really quick and easy way to make your audio sound amazing right here in Premiere Pro. Let's check it out. All right, we're in Premiere. Let's take a look at what we're working with.
If you're an introvert, you are in good company. Even though it often feels like we're the odd ones out, introverts actually make up a significant.
Okay, and right off the bat, we can hear that our music track here is just way too loud. A lot of people's first instinct is just to turn it down, but there's actually something we can do before that. We're going to come over here to our audio track mixer, and if you don't see this, just go up to Window and make sure your audio track mixer is selected. So we'll come over and add an effect here. We'll go to Filter and EQ, and we're going to add a parametric equalizer on the music track. So this might look like a lot at first, but this is basically just a frequency spectrum of everything that your ear can hear. So all the way from 0 hertz, this will be your low frequencies, to your mids, all the way to your highs. So when we hit play,
Portion of the population,
we see our waveform coming here. And if we grab one of these notches, we can actually affect how high or how low the decibel range is for the frequency. You can see here on the right side, this is your decibel level. So we're going to bring down the decibel level in this range right here, that from like 200 to 1K, that's actually where most voices are most prominent. So we're gonna take the music out of that. So if we go ahead and play it now,
often misunderstood or undervalued in a world.
you can already hear a little bit of a difference there. If we click on this LP over here, which will be a low pass, we can then affect the upper frequencies just to give a little more room for our vocals in there. And we'll do the same at this end with a high pass and cut off everything around 100 hertz or so. So let's give this a play now.
Often feels like we're the odd ones out. Introverts actually make up a
And down here we can affect how narrow or how wide the range is. So we'll go a little wider.
world that seemingly favors extroverts, but being an introvert does not mean that you're shy or socially
Okay, and now that we've affected that, now we can turn the volume down to whatever works. In our case, we'll try -10.
awkward. It simply means that you get your energy from solitude.
And now our vocals have room to breathe and they're really popping through. Speaking of those vocals, let's go over to our vocal track here, audio track 1, and we're gonna start with a tube model compressor. Double click in on that, and we're gonna come up to presets. I like the voiceover preset. I find this is a great starting point, so we'll give it a play.
Like we're the odd ones out. Introverts actually make up a significant.
And now the audio that we are working with here is a little on the high end. I'd probably like it to be back down a little bit, but we can kind of control that with how much of a threshold we have here and our output gain. So I'm gonna leave that threshold at -16. That might be a little much. And then the output gain, that will kind of make up for what is being compressed to give you that volume back. Since our vocal track is kind of on the higher end, I'm just gonna set this down to 1.
Portion of the population. We are often misunderstood or undervalued.
That sounded pretty good, and what a compressor will do is kind of just even everything out. It'll take the lows, bring them up as far as volume is concerned, and bring the higher end of the volume down and kind of give you a nice middle range. So we'll add one more. We're gonna come back to this parametric equalizer, double click in on there. And a great place to start if you really just want to get in and get out is this vocal enhancer. That'll give you some good high-end vocals, get rid of that low end that you don't really need to hear. So let's give this a preview.
In a world that seemingly favors extroverts, but being an introvert does not.
That 200 to 400 range is really where it's just not too pleasing to the ear, so we like to back that down a little bit. And you can play around here with the high end.
That seemingly favors extroverts, but being an introvert does not mean that you're shy or socially awkward. It simply means that you get your energy.
All right, cool. And one more trick I like to use on vocals, especially if they aren't recorded into a microphone and it's more onboard audio, is the denoise effect. And we won't particularly need it in this case, but I'll show you how I like to use it. I normally come up to the presets, light noise reduction, and then bring this all the way down between 5 and 8%. And you'll hear in our
from
case,
solitude and quiet reflection rather than external stimuli and social interactions. In this video,
it's not making a huge difference, but if you do have some of that onboard audio and it's picking up some background noise, this, when used subtly, is a good way to get rid of some of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove that effect in our case. So now that we've worked on our vocals and our music track individually, I'm gonna show you how to get the most out of it collectively. So we'll come over here to our mix track. This is basically, you can think of as the master track. We'll click on the little click down here, come to special and mastering. We'll double click in on this. This will set you up with some basic preset values. I like to come up here and go to subtle clarity. I find this is a great place to start. I will back off the reverb to 0% though. And then these values here, feel free to play around with them. I find that the default settings are normally sounding pretty good. Okay, that's good on the mastering. We'll come up, add one more effect here, and that's gonna be our hard limiter. We'll double click in on that. It's set to default. We're gonna come to limit to -3 decibels and bring the input boost to 0. And what this will do is make sure that your overall mix is never going above -3 decibels. That's kind of where it'll max out. I've found this a good way to get the most out of your volume levels without kind of going overboard. So let's give it a listen.
you are in good company. Even though it often feels like we're the odd ones out, introverts actually
over here, nothing's peaking anymore. At the beginning, our vocal levels were peaking drastically. If we come over here, we can see in our audio track,
we are often misunderstood or undervalued in a world that seems
we're hanging out right around -8 to -6, which is a great place to be. And a good rule of thumb for your music tracks is try to hang around the -18 to -20 range. And all of this is dependent on what footage you're working with, obviously. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good place to leave it. All right, guys, that's it. Let me know down in those comments if there's anything I missed, anything you do differently, and while you're down there, it would really help us out if you gave the video a like, if you found it helpful. I know I'm sounding all YouTubey right now, but it really does help us out. And if you like these kind of videos and you want to stick around for more, subscribing is the best way to do that. I'm Greg Hatt from Menagerie Studio. I'll catch you in the next one.